everyone. Today is actually, I think, a Monday. Yeah, so welcome to Monday. Kind of doing something that's a comfort food. I think each person in their family, kind of growing up or whatever, you kind of gravitate to one type of food or something that is one of your favorites. So tonight, especially after cutting the onions that are going there, I really needed some comfort because I brought some of the onion tears that you get with that. Is we're going to make meatballs, mashed potatoes, and gravy. So what I have in this bowl here is a couple pounds of hamburger, grass-fed hamburger. And I'm going to, this was about a half of an onion. You can dice them up as small a chunks as you'd like to. And then we did about 5 fresh garlic cloves. I'm just going to throw that in there. This is a super simple meal. And I use oatmeal instead of breadcrumbs in mine. So these are going to be organic ones. You can get gluten-free ones. And I just kind of dump some in there. That looks about good. And then with 2 pounds, I use 1 egg per pound of beef. So I'm going to just put those in there. And then I'm going to take some pepper. I'm going to throw some pepper in there, and hopefully I don't start sneezing. If I do, I promise I'm not sick. And now we're going to add some salt. And as we all know, I like salt, so we're just going to take the lid off. And there you go. A lot of people don't like to get their hands into raw meat. I just get my hands in there and mush it all up. You can use a blender, a mixer if you'd like to, and just mix the meat in with everything. So just get down in here and you just give it a good massage. And kind of in our comments today, put in there what your favorite comfort food is. And maybe we'll have to have a recipe all about that. And instead of frying these on the cooktop, I have started actually just making small meatballs, putting them on a cookie sheet, cooking them in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes. So you can now make your meatballs whichever size you like once it's all mixed in there. And then it's like a bunch of little cookies. Except for they don't flatten out like a cookie, and they obviously don't taste like one. But this has been my all-time favorite meal ever since I can remember. It's just one of those quick meals that you can do. It actually doesn't use a lot of ingredients. It doesn't use a lot of dishes. And if you make enough, you could even put some in your crock pot the next day and do barbecued meatballs too. You can divide them up after you've cooked them. Or you can freeze them to have them for later. Because once they are cooked, they're good to go. Here it goes into the oven. You can also add mushrooms if you want to. If you want to dice up some mushrooms really small, or you can add it in the gravy later. And 30 minutes later, we'll see ya. I always add a little bit of butter, especially when we are using grass-fed meat. It does not have near the amount of fat as your regular store meat. There are your meatballs. So today I'm just going to do about half of these. Okay. Meatballs is you're going to add the flour again, just kind of like if you watch the biscuits and gravy, is you want to add your flour to thicken your gravy to the meat. And then there's a quiz, so down below you can say answer why. You have to go back maybe if you don't know and look in this biscuits and gravy video. This is your quiz to see who's doing their homework. You can see as you're looking in here how little bit of grease, when you look here on the pan where it was cooked in, And you see in here how little bit there is because this is grass-fed. And the thing too is when you are using grass-fed meats, especially if you're doing like a roast or something larger, because there's so little bit of fat in there, is you want to lower the heat and then you want to cook it for longer or use something more with pressure and that will tenderize it. Otherwise, if you cook it like you do a normal, very, very feedlot type beef that is all corn-fed and fat, is then you cook it at those higher temperatures and it will still be juicy. But with the grass-fed, lower temp, longer time. And because there is so little of the grease in there, is I do just need to add a little bit more butter. Coconut oil would be a great one to use. Ghee is another one if you don't want to use butter. If you make your own lard out of grass-fed pork, that would be awesome too. Those are all healthier choices. Turn my heat up a little bit more. I'm just going to slowly add. And it's the same kind of as the biscuits and gravy that we did last time. You're going to season it with salt and pepper. You're going to want to cook the milk, kind of heat it up, because it will thicken with the flour. And then you can add more to the thickness that you desire. So that is basically meatballs, and then we'll get to the mashed potatoes in just a little bit. We used red potatoes tonight, and I don't peel those. So if you like to have the skins, since that is also where the most nutrients is in your potato, is in your skins, is leave those on and then just mash them right with all of that. And then I add a little bit of milk. You can always add more if you need to. I do not use a mixer. Like a lot of people will use a hand mixer and they'll really beat them up, but that actually causes the starch to come out of the potato, and so then it's actually worse for your blood sugar. I use an old-fashioned hand masher. It even has the great orange color that comes with it.